Hey, what's going on? We have Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Yes, give me some more of that. Suicide Squad popped back in with a new comic book for everybody. At first, it started really weird, and I don't think anybody really liked it, but then it got really cool. So hopefully, you finished reading it so we can talk about it. Also, the Mark Millar project of American Jesus. That's It's just weird. Let's talk about that and a bunch of other comic books right after this intro. Hey everybody, what's going on out there? I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're pretty cool for swinging by. This is my weekly haul-in review of the comic books I had picked up this week. Lots of comic books. I had like 4 I haven't gotten to, but I still wanted to show them to you anyway. But don't worry, all these comic books will be read and ready for Blaster or Stash It. What is Blaster or Stash It? It's another comic book review show that has a chat on top of it. So you get to come in and kind of give your opinions, what you thought about a lot of the stuff that you read too. Kind of engage with the community a little bit. So definitely stop by. What is it? Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. That's Blast It or Stash It. Come check us out. And I think we're going to be doing our Blasties here soon, or Stashies. What do we call it? It doesn't matter. Our end of year review is ultimately what we'll be doing. So we're going to start off with DC this week and all the good stuff that I picked up. Okay. So right up off the bat, we got a number one. A lot of number ones this week. That happens. I got the Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen. This is kind of good. We get some syndicate action, from that alternate universe with all the superheroes are actually bad guys. They're trying to work out a deal with Perpetua. Perpetua doesn't really take them seriously in any way, but hopefully they can do something in this. We do get this really cool thing where they got their new little Sinister Six group or whatever. We got some good stuff going on there where Batman Who Laughs kind of has been playing an integral role in all this stuff as it's been happening in both the Justice League comic book and as well as in the Year of the Villain stuff. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. It seems like it's being forced together slightly, but I'm digging it as far as two separate stories go. Hey, who's happy that King is off of this? Oh my God. So this is another one of those issues where it's I'm so smart that I can actually explain my plot holes in 2 issues. So here you go. Oh my God, this thing, it was just, that's all it was. It was just filling plot holes the entire time. Uh, and again, always, you got to say it's good art in it, but it's a lot of people just sitting around talking like over and over and over again. Just sitting around and talking, sitting around and talking, and then Bane breaks somebody's back. How many times have we seen that in a King book already? It is just constant, same thing. And then, of course, Batman making amends to all the people he thought he'd done wrong, but honestly, always felt it was justified. Um, so that's done. So let's see what happens with 86 with Batman being 80, with King being 86. Oh, I just got that. Oh, you think that was done on purpose? Comment down below and let me know if you got 86 on 86. That's awesome. Okay. Superman and Batman. This is again playing off of the whole the infected with the superheroes being infected with the nth metal and the Dark Universe stuff. In this one, Batman and Superman have to think critically about taking down this satellite so it doesn't turn everybody in their world into this dark metal kind of thing. And of course, they succeed. But at what cost is ultimately the question in here. And also remember that Batman just recently, or not Batman, but Superman just recently told everybody who he was. So that kind of gets joked on in here a little bit too. But with everything being infected and everything going on, it looks like somebody needs to come and play. If you don't know, we have Donna. She's in here. She's one of the infected. She's kind of like an allegory to Wonder Woman. So now we're getting Wonder Woman involved in all this in her side story. Um, they're calling it consequences. I wonder what they mean by that in the next issue. That would be interesting. Maybe something's going to happen because nothing major happened in here. It was mostly a lot of action going on in here. And a lot of the superheroes' repressed kind of anger kind of shines out in this. And that's been what's really good about this whole dark metal thing. I'm really enjoying it. Also, as a quick warning, we're having an early Christmas Eve dinner, so my family's trying to cook some food in the background. So if you hear some blenders and stuff going on, sorry for that, but the truth is I would rather have their cooking. So I don't want them to stop. So just as long as we're cool with that. Next, Head Full of Baskets. This is Jonah Hill writes like his dad, right? Like it's like forever and ever and ever to get to something. And when you get to something, it's kind of sort of something, but then it's like not really. So in this, if you don't know, the head of one of the criminals has been chopped off. It's alive for some reason because of the magical axe the young lady used to chop it off, and a lot of banter back and forth. A lot of the head telling her that your boyfriend's really not that good of a guy. He stole some money from a girl that jumped off a bridge. Yada, yada, yada. Backstory, 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 backstory. It constantly references its own backstory. Also in this, the girl's trying to get away. She takes the head with her. Why? We don't know. Comic book. That's what they do. Finds a man in town with a pickup truck or whatever. Jumps in there because it's a stormy night. Guy gets stuck or needs to move a tree or something. Looks in the back, notices the head, and beats the girl up. So yeah, that happened. I don't know where this is going, but knowing that it's Stephen King's son, I understand that usually it takes a while for their stories to get kind of going. So he kind of has his father's writing style as far as that goes. So we'll take a look at this a little bit more, but to be honest with you, I'm not trying to read a novel. That's why I buy books that big and a lot of them. Moving on, we got Justice League number 38. If you don't know, Martian Manhunter has been out of the picture now. Apex Luthor has taken him out of the picture by absorbing him. Don't overthink it. It gets weird. Okay. Shane, the future son of Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter, infiltrates Apex Luthor's mind to free his dad. Ultimately, it's the son sacrificing to free the father type of story that happens in here. As weird as that is, often it's the father sacrificing for the son in most narrative arcs, but they made it work in here. I really like this whole Perpetual story. I know I'm probably one of the few people that will say that, but with artwork like that and just the absolute her knowing that she's a god and can destroy planets and universes like that, it does make it very interesting. Yes, the argument can be made. It's Crisis, just with a different person. I'll give you that. But I don't know. It just feels different to me, and I've been enjoying it. Next, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, number 2. We're in another multiverse scenario, crisis type thing. And our Skeletor is actually Kendor in this one from one place. He meets other Skeletors and finds out about his own magic and stuff like that. They're in a galaxy one. I don't know if anybody actually remembers this, but for like a second in the 90s, there was like this galaxy He-Man type thing going on where they were in the right. Those are the ones in here now, and that Skeletor is in here as well. So Kendor finds out he's more like the Skeletor people than he is an actual He-Man type character. There's his big dun 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 reveal right there. We still get the He-Man from the movie. We get the little pop figurine one that's just silly, and we get the space one as well. So the negative He-Man that's going around killing everybody and making himself stronger escapes into another universe. They're chasing him down, and now we finally get something that we can kind of sort of recognize in this panel right there with the bad guys and everything going on. So that was pretty cool. Really, at this point, I'm just reading this for nostalgic reasons more than anything else. I think it's kind of cool. I've always liked He-Man and the characters in it. So, just a replay of them over and over again. Plus, this Kendor, which is a Skeletor to some degree. I'm kind of more interested in him. So we'll see where that goes. Okay. This is actually funny. Legion of Superheroes number 2. I am enjoying this absolute insanity. Right? So if you don't know, this takes place in I don't know, the 31st century, whatever that means at this point. So thousands of years in the future, right? Superboy's there, and he's really digging hanging out with these guys and being a hero at that time. They find Aquaman's trident. It makes water apparently appear, and that's something that's kind of missing from this kind of weird type Earth that has no water around it. It's all broken up. Gotham is a planet on its own in this one, which is kind of weird, or one of the spheres of a planet on its own. I like all the different various characters that are constantly talking. If I had one criticism, this little thing right here, this red block thing. All right, so because not everybody can automatically just know each other, there's this thing that you wear and it kind of pops this thing up whenever you talk to people to let you know who you're talking to, right? Keep the awkwardness or just relevant information going. Um, they clutter it in a lot of these pictures with the artwork, so it kind of takes away from the character designs, having these weird blocks everywhere. We have a son and dad issue in here that needs to be resolved as quickly as possible, but Superboy cannot get off the fact that there's a Gotham, and he takes this as some sort of sign that he needs to go get his buddy, Damian Wayne, to go to the future with him. That's right, Damian Wayne, Robin himself, going to the future. He asked him. So let's see where that takes us. Last for the DC books, this one kind of scared me a little bit. Oh, great cover. And then I read it. And, right, we got some weird eco-terrorist type people that, they're just this team right here. And I'm thinking, oh, great, that's what we need. Just, they're cheesy. They're noticeable. Everything about them is just written on, and I'm like, oh my god, not another one of these stories. And then we get this weird Suicide Squad, and I'm like, oh my god, this is just gonna be so bad, so bad. So Suicide Squad takes care of the younger, cooler team, right? And why is this guy even still in comic books? I don't know. Anyway, so they're going to go take care of them and go fight them and all that other good stuff. And nope. It completely takes you for a loop. Yes, that is Shark. Fuck. Just straight up tearing somebody in half. Tearing them in half. So, Scale and Finn, right? He eats Scale. And then shortly after that, like, legitimately, bodies are dropping everywhere. Both of the teams are being slowly dismantled. Apparently, Amanda Waller's not in charge anymore. Another gentleman is. I forget his name. It doesn't particularly matter. So what's left of our little renegade team of rebels and what's left of the Suicide Squad, that's ultimately our new Suicide Squad. And honestly, it's the better people from the teams. Other than this Zebra guy. I don't know, but there's something unique about him that this guy in charge really likes. I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably a family member. Because that's the trope, right? So whatever the case may be. So that's my DC hauls for the week. That was a lot of DC. A lot of DC. That's good stuff, DC. Keep it up. Moving on, we got Marvel. And I'm a little light on the Marvel this week. So we're going to get through this pretty quickly. Let me flip my notes around for you. So it's not just sitting here looking weird. First off, Guardians of the Galaxy. This wraps up the arc where Rocket Raccoon's going to die. He doesn't die. Spoiler. I guess you're supposed to say spoiler before you say that. He doesn't die. He's in a hospital. And we see a heartfelt moment of him with Peter and his original team in here as well. He ultimately tries to sacrifice himself to save everybody. It frees everybody. And then, that's not even the important part of the story. Well, it is the story. We'll put it that way. But what's great about this is Rocket Raccoon's been dying for almost a year now, and he's been kind of out of the loop about everything that's been happening in the cosmos of the Marvel comic books. So he's like, tell me what happened. So they kind of did this really cool splash page where they're taking on different moments from the last year, maybe slightly over a year. That's the whole Cosmic Ghost Rider traveling in the past thing, or the multiple universe and changing timelines and all of that. So they had a lot of splash pages for that kind of stuff. Oh, this was a good one too. All right. Beautiful splash pages. Oh, and then a little Silver Surfer action too. He was kind of explaining what he went through. And it's just great. And then you just had this great page right here with the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Hoping that Rocket Raccoon gets well. It's a good story. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I don't know where they're going to go next. That one just kind of left us on a cliffhanger there. Well, it didn't even leave us on a cliffhanger. It ended the story. So now a new arc has got to come out in some way, shape, or form. I really hope they kind of keep this precedence of momentum that they've been kind of running. But I don't know. What do you think? Comment down below. Next, I've been really enjoying reading this. Marauders. We find out that there's a new behind-the-scenes team. So you don't just have the Hellfire Club anymore. You have Hernandez Verde. I heard somebody say veranda on YouTube. It's an I at the end, right? Which means man's grown, or men grown. Um, why that? I don't know. It's a weird name. Don't even ask. I don't know. But we got good pirate action going on in here. We have people that believe in sovereign borders, and we have mutants that feel that because they're mutant, they're automatically citizens of a country. I don't want to get into the stickiness of sovereign nations versus countries. That could be a very long argument. So we'll just let that just happen because we get good action from it with Storm out there just lighting everything up. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Storm should be a member of the Marauders? I feel it's slightly out of place, even though some cool things happen. But she's definitely like the older woman of the group, and I don't know if that kind of steers off from it. Moving on, if you remember in the last issue, the president's wife of Taipei, Singapore, reported that her husband, Audison, got close to one of the portals and he disappeared, yada, yada, yada. And now she has a problem with mutants and she's all on board with the sovereign borders thing. We'll come find out she basically just locked him in a panic room so she could have a noble lie. I've talked about noble lies before. They're lies, but you tell it to the city so the best case scenario can happen. The problem with that is if the person's perceptions are skewed in some way, shape, or form, then it's not really a noble lie. It's just a lie. It doesn't make people better. We get that in here because she honestly thought she was doing something good by telling this lie. We get two new villains that are like Lady Deathstrike popping up in here too. She gets confronted for her lie. Obviously, she gets outed and embarrassed, and then she kind of joins this little group that we talked about at the beginning. Then it's like a group of creepy doll kids. It's weird. I don't know where this is going to go. Oh, and also Bishop is constantly being asked by Kate to be the Red Bishop, right? She even says in it, your name's Bishop, you might as well do it. He keeps turning her down, though, so I don't know how that's going to end up. Moving on, Amazing Spider-Man number 36. I got this cool Island of Venom cover. That's right, a shark cover. Spectacular Spider Grandpa, if you're out there, give me a thumbs up for showing the shark cover. This story ain't gonna last much longer for me if something doesn't happen. In this, we go through the possible case scenarios of how to beat Doom. If you've watched this channel, you know I've been reading this consistently, and how we're gonna beat him. And we come up with this one case scenario where we kind of play off his ego. Imagine that, beating Doom, but playing off his ego. Fantastic Four, X-Men, Inhumans, right? Like everybody's done that. So kudos for doing the same thing. Basically telling the same story. Spider-Man 2099 is on a beach for some reason. He runs into some girl. I guess we're supposed to know if you follow his storyline. Silver Sable's getting better in a hospital, and apparently her sister isn't having that mess. This thing's a mess. It's slowly going so off the rails at this point. It's almost impossible to catch up with it. Avengers. Boom. So Silver apparently has a team now of other Heralds of Galactus. Why we're still calling him Silver, I don't know. He's not so silver anymore, and that gets pointed out in the comic book as well. Robbie Reyes, the weird Ghost Rider that rides a car, tries to battle Silver Surfer. This is the first time that they've met, technically, in this comic book. And of course, Thor's still infected, and he finally turns, but gets knocked out. We get an episode where Captain America picks up the hammer in this one, because he is worthy, and knocks out Thor. So as far as we know, is as long as Thor is still worthy, like he hasn't been totally taken over by the board yet, he can still pick up the hammer, right? So he's able to pick up the hammer after being knocked out, so it hasn't quite turned him yet. It's more like flashes that come and go. Hulk Girl apparently has a power where she can throw up gamma radiation. I think I've made my feelings on that clear. Let's see here. Oh, and of course, now we're finding out about Starband. And what is Starband? Well, we find out because Iron Man is back in the past, like a million years ago. And we see the Avengers from a million years ago, and apparently they've been having some trouble with some time traveling, coming up there and starting a bunch of trouble. So this story is actually starting to become more and more in sync, which is good. Like we had the little spot things here and there where they were introducing the characters throughout the year. Now we finally got them conclusive and together, and we have a new star band that is going to happen. And then, of course, they had to leave the whole thing off on this. There's your mystery page right there. Yep, Natalia Romanoff, the War Widow. What does that turn into? I don't know. Hopefully it's cool. Please don't mess this up. All right. Moving on. Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Man, I love me some Cosmic Ghost Rider. I don't know. Is this something about Frank Castle, the Punisher, being a Ghost Rider that just warms my heart ever so slightly? And this one, if you remember, he was extinguished in the last story arc. Well, in this one, some scavengers kind of find his skull or whatever. They bring it inside. And of course, there's punishing that needs to be done. So he goes through and he punishes the entire crew. That was cool. We get kind of caught up with what happened with him also when he got thrown into this kind of space jail thing and well, he destroyed everybody in it. Yeah, everybody. So he kind of wakes back up. He destroys everybody on the ship except for this one lady because technically she's not a bad person, which makes her angry because she thinks she's a bad person. This Cosmic King guy meets up with Mephisto because somebody killed all of his pirates. Not very happy. Cosmic Ghost Rider goes back to Earth, looks at his family's grave, and this is where things get weird because if you remember that whole thing where Ghost Rider was going back in the past and trying to stop the murder of his own family. Well, apparently Frank Castle didn't appreciate the fact that he failed at it. So they fought for a while, like throwing grenades, hellfire water at each other. They actually put up a pretty good battle. Cosmic Ghost Rider takes off because literally he can't kill himself, so he's kind of losing. And we get this really cool... How cool is that picture right there? That speaks enough for itself right there on how sad this story actually is. And basically tells himself, his older self, that if he ever comes back here, you're dead. Wow. So there's some absolution there, which means anger. And anger is generally represented by, flames and explosions. So he's probably going to take that anger out on somebody. Let's see where he goes with it. That should be pretty interesting. Moving on. Conan, Serpent War. This is really cool. Again, we have Dark Angus, Solomon Kane, Conan, right? Yeah, Conan, and Moon Knight. So they're split up into different teams. Conan and Dark Angus are a team in one part of time and space, or just time. And then Moon Knight and Solomon Kane are at a different time. But everybody's kind of doing the same thing to get to the same goal in this, and that's of course beat the worm. That's WYRM. That is kind of referenced in here too. This is a weird story, but I like what they're doing with this. It's one of those offshoot comics that it's easy to ignore because it's a short mini series, and God knows we've had enough of Conan. Like everything's been Conan lately. So, but this one's kind of unique. I don't know if I like it yet. I'm gonna have to get issue 3 because I still have some why is this happening? J.J. Abrams, his Spider-Man. Hopefully, it's better than his Star Wars. Got him. Yeah, I said it. All right, moving on. In this, we kind of find out that Iron Man is still, or Tony Stark, I should say, is still alive. Riri Williams is the CEO of Stark Industries now, so that becomes important. Peter Parker gets kidnapped by the new villain, who is honestly just creepy. Son feels that it's his fault. So there's your redemption story, the thing to boost him into being the hero in the narrative. So he is. And apparently they're just sucking something out because we retconned something about their blood actually being important or significant in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, we did that. So I'm kind of digging this Tony Stark, who's just like a burned out guy living in a basement, eating pizza all the time. Has a secret way of getting out. Doesn't want to get too involved. But what we find out is that our villain is actually resurrecting heroes as zombies. I don't know how I feel about the zombie thing, though. Like, haven't we done this to some degree? I don't know. We'll see where it goes. So that's all my Marvel. Last but not least, let's go ahead and hit up some of the indies. Once and Future is still playing to be a very good book. I like this whole Kingfisher thing. If you don't know the Kingfisher character in most Shakespearean or early works, basically it's a father figure with the knowledge that sends the hero on a quest, the hero being pure of heart. So our hero's mom, our grandmother had to be the Kingfisher in this because the Kingfisher killed himself. That was kind of an interesting take on this. I like how they're playing off this kind of stuff and these different archetypes. I really like it. So that's interesting. Next, we have folklore. Folklore. All right, so we got a journey, and now we're starting to play into other folklore, like Hansel and Gretel and things along those lines. We can kind of start seeing those playing here as they journey to find out who the folklords are. He's constantly having flashes into our world with cell phones. He's built his own lighter. Like, he's very connected with our world in some way. So that's going to play more into this. I'm really digging it. This is just smart writing. It really is. American Jesus. Like I said, this thing is just weird. So apparently there's going to be another virgin birth. There's also an antichrist that's being birthed, right? So if you know anything about your Bible, right? You kind of got that story. But this is happening in somewhat modern times. The angel that comes to our Mary in this one kind of tells tells her about how when the buildings are going to come, the Empire State buildings, I'm sorry, the Twin Towers, when they fall, microchips, and when everything just kind of started falling apart. So basically, he predicts the future and tells her the future. Her virgin birth and her boyfriend and take off to Waco, Texas, right? And if you don't know your history very well, your modern history, Waco, Texas was kind of a weird area. There's a lot of weird stuff that happened there with a cult of people that got burned. So I'm kind of curious where this goes, but it's not going to be high on my list. It's just not my type of reading. Also, imagine that Mark Millar's got another script for a Netflix show. Yeah, good job. This is some stuff I haven't read yet, but I'll be sure to have it read before Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, before we go live on Blast or Stash It. Vampire State Building. This is fun. I can't wait to read some more of that. Willington. I'm kind of curious what this is about. Something about monster hunters or something like that. And but the last two are two stories I've just absolutely been enjoying. Show's End. This should be number 5. Yeah, number 5 right here. The kind of dark carnival type story. And last but not least, who doesn't like themselves some Middle West? We're going to be on the farm now producing this stuff. And somebody said this started a new arc, but I'm not really sure if we can say the last arc actually ever ended since Dad didn't find the kid. So I'm not really sure what that was all about. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Hey guys, thanks for coming by. Apparently we got quite a few new subscribers, so stay on the lookout. Hit that notification bell because we're going to be doing another contest here soon enough to get everybody started. With the holidays and everything, I didn't want to launch it right now. It seemed like a really jerk thing to do. So we're going to have a contest coming out here very soon, something you can engage and interact with and maybe even have some fun with. So keep on the lookout for that. All right, guys, I got nothing else. I got to get out of here. Apparently, it's my job to make something in the kitchen. I don't know. Probably put the ham in the oven. I don't know what I got to do, but I got to take care of that. Talk to y'all later. Bye.